Welcome back, everybody, to the Movie Cart channel. Today, we are talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in honor of One Battle After Another coming out. It's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, so we thought it was only fitting to review a Quentin Tarantino movie. However, they both have Leonardo DiCaprio starring in them, so that's our through line, so it counts.
I'm going to take a couple seconds here up top. Some of you may notice that I'm prone to hyperbole. As I watched this movie last night, I thought that it might be the best way you can possibly spend 2 hours of your time. I, like, I, I cannot express enough how much every second of this movie made me happy. I could watch Margot Robbie drive in LA for 4 hours. I could watch Cliff Booth inexplicably beat up Bruce Lee. I could watch Leonardo DiCaprio act so well at acting poorly in a fake movie. Like I like every second of this movie made me so happy that I thought, you know what, maybe things are going to be okay.
That's the magic of movies, man. It'll lift you up when you're down in the dumps sometimes, in only the
It's
fashion that movies can do.
especially when this movie came out, like directly pre-COVID, 2018.
19.
Yeah, 19. I feel like that was when Marvel was in full swing. And I love Marvel movies. They're well produced, but they've got the CGI. They all look like they're produced on sound stages. This movie, it just looks so fantastic from beginning to end. Every shot, it's like, God damn, this is a movie. Like, yeah, it makes me so happy.
Yeah, I think I was about 15 minutes into the movie and I just texted you, this movie absolutely rocks. And the interesting thing about it is, I feel like upon release and even its kind of legacy, I know it's only been 6 years, but people seem to think of this less fondly as far as the Tarantino movies go. They seem to say they don't really care for it. They thought it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes about nothing, which in a way it kind of is, but in like the best way possible. But I feel like it's one of those movies where the more you watch it, upon every rewatch, you just smile a little bit more and it just gets that much more entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, if watching Brad Pitt be the single coolest person who's ever lived isn't enough for you, like, I just can't relate.
I mean, it is. You're just hanging out with these three characters. Two of them are just best buds, like clowning around, and then the third is Margot Robbie, just being the most wholesome person of all time, looking beautiful, like going around town, just having fun.
Yeah.
Like, who watches that and is like, you know what? I don't like this.
Yeah, she really doesn't do anything in the whole movie. I mean, we watch her watch herself in a movie theater. She's nice to her neighbors. She doesn't they don't ask her to do a lot, but god damn does she do it.
Yeah, she's like the sweetest person ever in this movie. I feel like all the way through, this movie is just entertaining. And I think the ending is obviously what sticks in people's minds so much because it is like one of the best finales of a movie I've ever seen. But what are your thoughts as far as just kind of the majority of the runtime sans the last like 15 minutes?
I agree. When I think about this movie, I think about like the Manson family stuff, the historical revision and Cliff Booth being the coolest person who's ever lived. But it is over an hour and 20 minutes before Cliff picks up Margaret Qualley. So like the real bulk and meat and potatoes of this movie is like Leo's ailing acting career, which is so awesome. And every time that little girl says that's the best acting I've ever seen in my life, it gives me chills. Man. And it's so interesting how, I don't know, there's like a dichotomy going on where Leo is the star, Brad Pitt is the stuntman, but Leo's a loser. And Cliff Booth is the coolest man who's ever been alive. I do want to say though, I have already mentioned him fighting Bruce Lee, and for some reason, that really bothered me. I don't know why. Bruce Lee shouldn't lose a fight to Brad Pitt.
No, but
He's
you
just
know what? I never picked up on this personally when I first saw it, and I agree. Like growing up, my dad always talked about how sick Bruce Lee was, and we'd watch
yeah.
like some of his old movies and
All
stuff.
you have to hear is that he's the best fighter of all time.
Yeah. And so when I saw the movie in theaters, I do remember watching that and being like, "This is kind of bullshit. That's not even how Bruce Lee would, like, carry himself." I don't maybe that's totally inaccurate. That's just my rosy picture of Bruce Lee in my mind, but I didn't pick up on this until I saw other people talk about it. As that fight scene goes on, by the time he's sparring back and forth in, like, the round 3, there's no one in the room anymore.
Yeah.
And it's kind of insinuating that it's all just this made up scenario in his head. By the time they're, like, trading blows and blocking each other, it's like they're the only 2 in the room and everyone else has just disappeared. So it kinda
Yeah, no.
lends.
Like, the Manson family murders not being carried out, making this movie, like, historically inaccurate, that's the only reason I'm okay with Bruce Lee losing the fight to
Well,
Brad
yeah, it's
Pitt.
a fairy tale. I mean, yeah, hence the
Absolutely.
title. Like, it's a romanticized version of our actual history where things play out, where the good guys win and the bad guys have grisly ends.
There's one moment I wanted to talk about, and it was Leo having a meltdown in his trailer after he kept flubbing his lines. The 8 whiskey sours monologue, as I like to call it, I think that might be the hardest I've laughed in a movie theater probably in 5 years. I thought it's so funny. And last it's, "You could have stopped at 4. At 8 whiskey sour." I think that's so funny.
The best part of that whole speech is when he finally goes, "I'm done drinking. That's it. I'm done with this shit." And then it cuts to him immediately grabbing a whiskey sour off his
Fine.
table and just guzzles it. Then he looks at it, gets mad, and just chucks it away.
Might be the least self-aware person of all time. He has a lot of moments of failure where he really understands why he's failing, but once he succeeds, he forgets everything. He's like, "Oh, I'm the fucking man. I'm Rick Dalton." And also, you can really win over his character by giving him a simple compliment. That's kind of the whole essence of his character is like, "Man, I just want one person to tell me I'm good. It's gonna carry me for a week."
Well, that's the interesting dynamic between the 2, because like you said, Brad Pitt's, like, the coolest man alive
Yeah.
by as metrics as far as his actions go, but if you look at his actual the character's life, he lives in this, like, shitty trailer park. He can't hold a job. His buddy just pays him to essentially hang out with him. But he definitely has the most confidence out of the 2, and then Leo has, like his character, Rick Dalton, has every reason to be, like, the most confident man. He's, like, the a relatively successful actor in Hollywood. He lives in an incredible house. Like, he's a known individual, but he has 0 self-confidence. It's all in the admiration and validation of everyone else he meets in his life.
The Leo character and Cliff Booth are 2 sides. Like, they kind of combine to make, like Chuck Norris. Like the 2 of them come together and create this Walker Texas Ranger character, and it's every second they spend together. I really like their friendship in the movie. I think it's sweet. I think at the end, towards the end, when he has to tell Cliff that he can't pay him anymore, and it Cliff takes it very well. He's like, I'll figure it out." Like, I don't know. It's just there isn't ever conflict between those 2, and I really like that aspect of the movie. The conflict is there's not much conflict in this movie, to be honest, but it's all external. It's all, Austin Butler and his merry gang of ne'er-do-wells. And
You love that term. I
I
think you've used it in every video we've made.
speaking of them, the, Manson family, though, I feel like people bring this up a lot, so I'm not treading any new water, but golly, the casting.
It's it's actually preposterous. Like, I actually wrote down just listen to this list. Let me just break this down for you real quick. So as far as and there's these are not mentioning all the like older legends like Pacino and Kurt Russell. As far as the build characters and like the front billing goes, the young actors, you have Margaret Qualley, Austin Butler, Dakota Fanning, Emil Hirsch, Timothy Oliphant's older, but like an incredible actor that just is also hanging around. And these are the actors that aren't even like billed in the front credits of the movie. Sydney Sweeney, Mikey Madison, Maya Hawke, Victoria Pedretti, which is the woman from the show You. And then even the really young actress that is the little cowgirl that Leo does all his scenes with, her name is Julia Butters, and she just co-starred in Freakier Friday as like a yeah, as like one of the main characters. So even she at that age is becoming like she's I think 16 now, and she's even starring in like pretty major tentpole Disney movies. Like, it's
It's
insane.
really good too. I really liked her performance. Something I thought was funny that I Googled last night is that Dakota Fanning is the same age, more or less, than all those other actors. And I just think
She
she's been a part of our lives since before we were conscious. And I think she's like 4 years younger than Austin Butler.
she's kinda like our generation's Jodie Foster.
Yeah. I was considering shooting Ronald Reagan for her. Someone beat me to it. Have you ever seen the quote where Jodie Foster is like, "It was kind of impressive."
I think yeah, like, it did get my attention, it worked.
I didn't hate it.
Another huge part of the entertainment factor in this movie are all the vignettes of all the different made up properties, like the 14 Fists of McCluskey
So yeah.
and his all the scenes of him playing, Jake Cahill on Bounty Law are incredible. It's just they're all hilarious.
Exactly like Walker, Texas Ranger. If you've ever sat down and watched that show where it's like, man, they paid 2 guys high on cocaine to write some really questionable westerns because they had to air it, yeah. TV was different then. You had to air like 30 episodes a year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the all those classic serials, even the fade-ins and fade-outs, like, all the, even the FBI, his cameo on the FBI show where this meme originates from, where he, like, snaps and whistles at the TV.
My favorite part about this movie every time I watch it, which almost every part is my favorite part, but about an hour and 50 minutes into the movie, it kind of ends. He goes to Italy, he meets Francesca. There's a whole voiceover narrator, like, and then Cliff and Rick break up, and this happens and that happens. And then the best part of the movie just happens out of nowhere. And like the last 30 minutes, this would have been a great movie without it. And then it was like Tarantino's like, but hold on. If the best thing ever occurred after an entire awesome movie. Yeah, that the whole scene of, the Tex and Mikey Madison and the other one,
Yeah.
it is so funny. And every time I watch it, I'm like surprised by the gruesomeness. It's really just like Kill Bill mixed with some sort of weird Tim and Eric sketch. Like it makes it so funny. But yeah, I think anyone who was watching could kind of see that the Mikey Madison character, she was so good and so funny for the last 20 minutes of that movie. But yeah, you could see it coming. Maybe not like an Oscar, but you could see that she had something.
Oh, for sure. Well, if Tarantino puts you in a movie and gives you your own monologue in a scene, you know that you probably have something going for you because he clearly saw something in her. And that whole scene when they're all sitting in the car, just like kind of having a little powwow hangout before they're gonna go kill
Yeah.
Leo and Brad Pitt's characters, that is one of the funniest bits. They're just Tex just at one point realizes, holy shit, that was Jake Cahill. Jake Cahill just screamed at me, and they just are cracking up about it.
And my favorite line in the movie, one that really sticks with me, is when because also Brad Pitt happens to be high on acid during the culmination of the movie when he says, "I know you. What's your name?" He says, "The devil." He goes, "No, I was way dumber than that." Like that always kills me.
When he starts to trip really hard and he's feeding his dog brandy, and he lets the nasty dog food slide out of the can and just hit the dog bowl, and he just looks down and goes, "Whoa." And then,
After he licks it, like
yeah, he's like eyeing it and he decides to try it out.
people for some reason really don't consider this one of his best, and we've already touched on it. But what more could you possibly want? It's all the best parts of the charm of Pulp Fiction and the brutality at the end of Kill Bill. It's so good.
I think part of the reason it's definitely one of his most meandering movies. It definitely lets itself just vibe out for a while. But I agree, like, the first time I watched it, I enjoyed it, but I honestly was kinda in the same camp of, like, it was good, but it's probably my, like, 4th or 5th favorite. But I was watching it, I'm like, "Oh, this is his best movie he's ever made."
I'm going to see the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie right after this. But every time, and I think great directors have this ability, and especially Tarantino and PCA, where whenever you're watching one of their movies, you cannot imagine that another movie is better than that. So like in the abstract, I'm able to tell myself, yeah, I think Pulp Fiction's probably my favorite Tarantino movie. But every time I watch this movie, every time I watch Django, every time I watch Inglorious Bastards, I'm like, yeah, this is probably the best movie that anyone's ever made. Like it's insane how they're it, and it's just because the movies are so they grab you, they pull you in, and they're movies that like capital M.
Yeah, there's something tangible about his movies too. Like you mentioned earlier, all the Marvel fare. That was the year Endgame came out, so it was like really at its peak. This movie just feels so real. There's no the only CGI is like the Pan Am plane in the sky. And like it's really just if you're paying attention. The rest of it's totally real. It feels grounded. You feel like you're with the characters in a way.
Yeah, this still like Rick Dalton still feels like a guy. Like Leo's such a loser, and we were not used to him being a loser. And god damn, he plays a good loser.
He does. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, his acting is so incredible. He goes from pretending to be he's acting poorly on purpose as his character just being a bad actor. And then he acts incredibly being upset about his acting performance in character. And then he goes from that to acting well in character and acting really well being happy about his performance. Like it's just so many notes he hits and it's
No,
all
it's
flawlessly done.
him and Pitt. It's just it's a masterclass. I feel like I'm glazing. I'm doing tricks on this movie, but I really can't help myself, man. It's
You
so
spinning
good.
on this movie right now?
I'm doing backflips on this movie.
All right. I got two good facts for you. The first one, I think this movie, it's kind of it's a known thing that Quentin Tarantino has a foot fetish, and this
I've
is his
heard it.
like master stroke and pun intended, and his foot fetish in full display. He has Margot Robbie barefoot, Margaret Qualley barefoot, Sydney Sweeney barefoot. Insane.
Hold on,
Do you want to know how many times specifically there are shots of people's feet in this movie?
go on.
36.
Oof. I did like when I watched it last night because that's kind of the reputation of this movie. Is, uh, shoeless women. There is a Leo barefoot shot. Just want to say it goes both ways. I don't know what my point is, but it made me feel better.
I mean, in those 36, there's some min feet for sure.
Which, yeah,
Good looking
there's
feet.
no greater point. It makes me feel good that it's not just young women.
True. Yeah, especially since Margaret Qualley's supposed to be like 14.
She's great, by the way. What her name?
Oh,
Kat, I believe.
pussycat. Yeah.
I feel like it's weird because she clearly seems like the star compared to like Mikey Madison and Sydney Sweeney. And obviously she is a big star, but she hasn't quite reached the heights of the rest of the crew. She's really, really good.
I think she got the most recognition from being in this movie. I think people forget Sydney Sweeney was even in it.
Yeah.
And Mikey Madison, it's almost like in hindsight, you go back and you're like, oh, it makes total sense. She's so famous now and she has an
Also,
Oscar. Like,
why does Rick Dalton have a flamethrower? Did I
the
miss?
14 Fists of McCluskey.
It's just
Anybody order fried sauerkraut?
he lights her on fire so hard.
That's another great bit when he's practicing with it and he's like, whoa, whoa, can you do anything about that heat? And the guy just goes, Rick, it's flamethrower.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, you're right. I almost forgot my second fun fact. This goes back to how stacked this movie was. James Marsden of Sonic the Hedgehog fame, among other things, he was a young Burt Reynolds in this movie, and all of his scenes were cut. Like you can find him
Really?
on the disc on deleted scenes. You probably search him on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, this movie's so stacked they had to cut out he's not necessarily an A-lister, but he's a pretty famous guy.
I mean, after that, what was that show called where he was like the fake jury?
I
By the
don't
way,
know. I know what you're talking about.
he got super famous off that. That was like the biggest show of 2 years ago.
He'll be in the next, Avengers movie. I think he's reprising his role as Cyclops from X-Men.
What a cuck. Not
They
James
did
Martin.
they did my boy so dirty in those X-Men movies. Want to revisit those at some point.
Man, they loved Hugh Jackman, but
I mean,
I
he's
digress.
sick.
As far as closing thoughts go, it's just like this when I go to the movies, this movie could have sucked from a plot perspective, but as long as a movie looks like this, like I'm gonna be at least B plus happy. And then you add in Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, absolutely like giving the performances of a lifetime, and everyone in the movie does such a good job. But it really is. Again, I could have watched the characters drive on Sunset Boulevard for 3 hours. Like there's a feel to when a real ass director makes a real ass movie that you can immediately tell the difference from the word go. The hours fly by to me. Like anyone who complains about this movie being self-indulgent or like self-masturbatory or whatever you want to say, you just don't like movies. This movie is incredible.
Well, I just implore people to watch it again. If you've only seen it, like, the initial time you went to the theater, watched it on streaming or whatever, I would just sit down and just give it a second look because I think it really hits the second time, and every time I'm not gonna ask you to watch it 4 times or 5 times, but by the 5th time, you're just having the best time ever for almost 3 hours of your life. It's just a blast.
Also, I think it's worth mentioning. Have you seen that Tarantino wrote a script for a Cliff Booth sequel, and David Fincher is producing it for Netflix? A Cliff Booth movie, which just makes me happy. I want to spend more time in this world.
That is an incredible situation that I don't think if you're not familiar, it's just gonna be it's such an exciting collaboration. It's like if you took Joe Burrow off the Bengals and just, like, threw him on the Lions instead of Jared Goff. It's just someone has created an insanely awesome blueprint and brought in one of the most talented people in David Fincher to direct it, and it's just gonna be such a cool idea that a Tarantino script is translated to screen by David Fincher. It's gonna be
Yeah, no,
awesome.
it sounds like something I would have made up when I was in eighth grade.
Yeah, it's like a pipe dream, and it's actually a real thing.
And with Brad Pitt, who
Yeah.
is this his best performance? I know that's a heavy question for the waning seconds of the video, but is this your
I
favorite?
mean, this is the one he got the Oscar for, but I would honestly take I mean, he's incredible in Inglorious Bastards. I think he's awesome in Seven when he
Yeah,
was young. I mean, as far as, like, pure acting chops go, I think those performances outweigh his talent in this. I think this was more of like, we are honoring your legacy as an incredible actor. Here's your Oscar finally."
yeah. This
But
is.
he's still great in this movie.
I also think this is the coolest he ever was because he's so attractive that like it kind of outweighs his abilities. Even in Glorious Bastards, he's still so goddamn handsome. I think here he's old enough to where you're like, okay, this is a real guy now. Like, and he's able to just be a real person as opposed to a walking Greek god or Achilles from Troy.
It almost felt like a sin to replace Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt's faces on the thumbnail with our own,
Yeah,
because the handsomeness does go down. Shockingly, I know, but just a little bit.
yeah,
They
tremendous.
are quite beautiful.
Yeah,
Alright, last thing I do wanna say real quick. Quentin Tarantino wrote a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood book, and it's great because there's very little overlap from the actual movie. It's not just the screenplay, like, it's almost all supplemental,
Hmm.
and it's really great. It really adds a lot to the movie. If you haven't read it, you should check it
oh, I
out
have
and
it.
then
Yeah,
rewatch it because it adds a ton of context. It's
seen the
really
movie a
great.
dozen times. I actually didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's great. You gotta check it out. It'll just make the next rewatch even better.
Where does this land? I know we just watched it, so it's hard not to be a prisoner of the moment and have some recency bias. But do you think this reaches like A tier Tarantino for you?
It's definitely I mean, my 4 favorite Tarantino movies are probably Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Basterds, Django, and this movie. Well, I don't know, that's impossible because Kill Bill's sick.
That was fucked up of me to ask. I'm sorry. Because then, yeah, I mean, you hate Reservoir Dogs? Like,
God, I plead the 5th. Redact that.
cut it, cut it, cut it.
Well, gang, Thanks for joining us for this roughly a half hour glaze fest of an incredible movie. We hope you enjoyed yourselves as much as we enjoyed ourselves. Am I right, Luke?
I'm enjoying the hell out of myself right now.
Can't say I disagree. All right, gang. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe. What's your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie or DiCaprio movie? Are you going to go see one
One
battle after another?
Yeah. Paul Thomas
Let
Anderson,
us know.
IGN gave it 10. The same publication that rates Call of Duty games, so it's good.
Oh, dude, you know if IGN reviews it, it's accurate as hell. That's what everybody says.
Also gave a Cyberpunk a 10, so go check it.